The coal scam returns to haunt former Prime Minister Manmohan Singh and industrialist Kumar Birla. The special court names them as accused in the case, charging them with criminal conspiracy and cheating, issues summons asking them to appear on the 8th of April.
Government's reforms drive sputters before the Great Wall of the Rajya Sabha land bill, all set to be sent to a select committee. Hope for the mines and coal bills as the select panel will submit its report by the 18th of March. Some success for the centre as the motor vehicles bill gets the green light of the upper house. Insurance bill will be tabled tomorrow and is likely to get a safe passage.
India's growth prospects are better, but the road to recovery is still long, says the International Monetary Fund. Expects GDP in FY16 to be at 7.5%, sharply below the government estimates of 8.5%, also raises doubts over fiscal consolidation.
After putting more money in the hands, the chairman of the 14th Finance Commission, Y.V. Reddy, says states are more fiscally responsible than the centre. The former RBI governor also apprehensive about the proposed monetary policy framework. That's an exclusive.
The finance minister meets heads of PSU banks, urges them to ease interest rates, also discusses ways to curb the bad loan problem.
Telcos continue to slug it out for spectrum at the auctions. After 7 days, the government receives bids worth 96,000 crore rupees.
Markets fall for the third straight day. A late sell-off takes the Nifty below 8,700. Rupee continues to weaken, nears the 63 mark against the dollar. Crude prices also under severe pressure.
It's very important that our leadership in countries all over the world understand the India story. And there's no better way to convey that than to get them all here.
One of the world's largest accounting firm bullish in India, the global chairman of KPMG, John Waymeyer, says the group is scouting for acquisitions and plans to increase workforce by 50% in 3 years.
American chocolate maker Mars is all set to capitalize on the Make in India drive. Snickers and M&M candies will soon be made in India as the company plans to pump in about 1,000 crore rupees. A special report coming up.
It came as a surprise to me, but the court has its own method of working, so let's see what court does.
अंततः किसी भी ऑक्शन को एक्सेप्ट करने या रिजेक्ट करने का अधिकार सरकार का है। नॉमिनेटेड अथॉरिटी का सिर्फ अपना विवरण यहाँ होता है सरकार के पास।
तत्कालीन प्रधानमंत्री के रूप में, तत्कालीन कोयला मंत्री के रूप में, तत्कालीन सेक्रेटरी कोल मंत्रालय, चेयरमैन कोल इंडिया, इन सभी को समन्स आने का मुझे कोई आश्चर्य नहीं होगा।
I think the truth will prevail because Dr. Manmohan Singh has had a spotless career and nobody, not even the opposition, has ever questioned his integrity.
While the CBI's efforts to close its investigations in the coal scam have not yielded fruit, the special court hearing the case has summoned, among others, former Prime Minister Manmohan Singh and leading industrialist Kumar Birla to appear before it. That is our top story tonight. Ashmit Kumar and Arib Sherwani get you the details.
The hearing into the coal block allocation scam has become a high-stakes legal battle. The special court presiding over the matter has summoned former Prime Minister Manmohan Singh, industrialist Kumar Birla, former Coal Secretary P.C. Parakh, and 2 other Hindalco officials to appear before it in person as accused in the case. So when they appear before the court on the 8th of April, they will go under trial under the Prevention of Corruption Act. The specific issue here pertains to the allocation of the Talabira 2 block to Hindalco. The 25th Screening Committee had disallowed the allocation, but this decision was later reversed. Allegations are that this U-turn was made possible due to influence exerted on the commission by India's political leaders after meetings between Kumar Birla, then Prime Minister Manmohan Singh, who also held the coal portfolio, and the former Coal Secretary P.C. Parakh. The special court's order summoning Singh, Birla and others raises this question, saying it is beyond comprehension how and why P.C. Parakh overturned the decision of the 25th Screening Committee. Remember, the CBI had named Kumar Birla in an FIR, but then claimed that further investigation did not lead anywhere due to lack of evidence. However, the court did not take kindly to the CBI's attempts to close the investigations, calling the CBI's explanations incoherent. In a strongly worded order, the court directed the CBI to further investigate the matter by questioning Manmohan Singh and senior PMO officials. The court's order of summons is nothing short of scathing. It says KM Birla played an active role tapping his bureaucratic and political channels to secure the Talabira 2 block for Hindalco. It also says Hindalco's internal communications show the emphasis on networking with polity bureaucrats. The court has also observed that prima facie it was a well-planned criminal conspiracy led by Hindalco executives and public servants. That prima facie public servants acted in complete disregard for public interest and allowed Hindalco to misappropriate resources. And that prima facie concerted efforts by Manmohan Singh and PC Parak to allow Talabira 2 to rest with Hindalco. The court has also questioned the Odisha government's role in the allocation, saying Birla used political channels to secure support from the Odisha government and convinced Naveen Patnaik to write to the Prime Minister supporting Hindalco's cause, but this is being denied.
The Odisha government has very consistently taken the stand over the past dozen years that A, there must be auction of mineral resources including coal, and B, allocation must be made to those industries which have set up processing plants in Odisha so that they have an assured supply of raw material. This stand continues till today, and in this particular case the Odisha government had reiterated that stand and told the centre that when it takes the decision, it's the centre's decision, these facts must be kept in mind.
The Congress, of course, has come out in support of Manmohan Singh.
We are very confident that Dr. Manmohan Singh and the entire decision made in this particular case will be found to be totally transparent, totally above board, and done with complete integrity.
On his part, the former Prime Minister says he's ready to prove his innocence in court.
I respect the judicial process in our country, and I hope in any fair trial I will be able to establish my total innocence. I have stated before the CBI my position, and I have also, as Prime Minister, issued a statement justifying what we did.
Hindalco's response to this development says, and I quote, Hindalco reiterates that none of its officials, including its chairman Kumar Birla, have pursued any unlawful or inappropriate means for securing the allocation of the coal block. The company's management is confident that it will stand vindicated at the end of the ongoing legal process, end quote. Meanwhile, sources say that the special court summons for a personal appearance may be challenged in the Supreme Court. In New Delhi with Ashmit Kumar, Arif Sherwani.
And political reactions have been coming in thick and fast on the latest developments in the coal block allocation scam. Let's listen in.
The truth will prevail because Dr. Manmohan Singh has had a spotless career, and nobody, not even the opposition, has ever questioned his integrity. The court may have summoned him. So many people get summoned.
You know, the courts have right, they enjoy certain privileges and right. They do it, and it is our right to defend him, and he can be defended, and he has not done any wrong. And I don't think, a man of that stature, can do any wrong.
It's a very healthy sign of our judicial system, as well as the manner in which this case has been handled by the Supreme Court.
Well, reactions coming in from industry body, the Confederation of Indian Industry, or CII, it's expressed its concern about the trial court order against Hindalco. In a statement issued by CII, and I quote, while the court is absolutely within its right to proceed on legal course, the industry would like to see that investor and the business community at large does not get the wrong signal on such matters and the way that these matters are handled, end of quote. That is the statement there coming in from the Confederation of Indian Industry. And here's the former Solicitor General of India, Mohan Paraswaran, on the special court's order summoning Manmohan Singh, PC Parak and Kumar Birla.
We have former Solicitor General Mohan Paraswaran with us. The first question, what do you have, what's your reaction to the former Prime Minister Manmohan Singh being now summoned by a trial court in the coal allocation case?
Yeah, I was quite surprised. Of course, the CBI investigation was on for quite some time, and he was also asked to be questioned by the court. But you must remember that even when he was the Prime Minister, a PIL was filed in the Supreme Court asking that prosecution should be launched against him. Right. And the said PIL was dismissed by the bench which monitored the PIL with regard to challenge to the allocations made by the various governments. And it is rather surprising that now he has been sought to be roped in.
Right.
The CBI did not find any evidence of corruption. The main plank of the CBI is that he was the minister in charge. He was instrumental in decision making, and therefore the buck should stop with the Prime Minister. And if that is going to be the logic, I think this is going to actually seriously cause prejudice or a dent in the decision-making process of any government.
So this is what the trial court also seems to suggest. The trial court also says that he's not being called as the Prime Minister because the PM cannot see the minutes of every meeting. This was because he was holding the coal portfolio. What would you say about that?
See, merely because somebody is the head of a department, you can't actually seek to criminally involve him, no? Unless and until there are actually direct evidences that he is part of a coterie which has hatched a conspiracy to commit a criminal offence, or there are strong circumstantial evidence.
So the Supreme Court had also earlier heard the case, and then also there was no criminality angle which was involved. Now how do you view, do you think it is correct that angle of criminality has been invoked and he has been called as an accused?
See, criminality actually was, I think, no way actually evident from the file. Actually, on facts also, I can just briefly tell the facts. This particular Talibara coal block was initially allotted to NLC, and insofar as Hindalco was concerned, it had a coal linkage actually from Mahanadi coalfields, which it could not utilize because its own factory did not start its operations, and therefore its captive power plant could not go in for operation, and therefore they made an application to the coal ministry and then also wrote a letter to the PMO that this block should be allotted to them, since there was a lot of demand for coal, and that this factory would provide a lot of employment in the state of Orissa. And mind it, the Orissa Chief Minister also wrote to the Prime Minister that this is a very, very important project for the state and it's going to generate employment for thousands of people. And then the Prime Minister asked the Coal Ministry to consider this aspect. Coal Ministry wrote back stating the antecedent facts. And then what happened was there was a recommendation that this particular block, there should be a joint venture. Mahanadi should take 70%, Neyveli Lignite Corporation 15%, and Hindalco 15%. Then they also cited the PMO's earlier guidelines stating that actually the shareholding to Hindalco 15% is on the higher side. Neyveli should have 22.5%. and Hindalco should have 7.5%. But then it was pointed out that both actually Hindalco and NLC, both actually Mahanadi and NLC are PSUs. And there was another block, 3. And Neyveli's actually needs can be met from the coal generated from actually the Mahanadi's share from the 3rd block as well. It's not going to be put to any prejudice. Whereas the state of Orissa's needs has to be taken care of by Hindalco and an exemption has to be granted. And the PMO actually applied its mind, the Coal Ministry applied its mind, the Coal Secretary applied their mind, and a decision was collectively taken. Where is the question of corruption in this?
Right. So, since you're so well versed with the case, was there a meeting of minds, as you were saying, between the private companies, these PSUs, and the Prime Minister?
There was a collective decision and they applied their mind. And the state was benefited. There was a request by the Chief Minister also. Do you mean to say that the Chief Minister was also part of the conspiracy?
Question.
Well, that's the former Solicitor General Mohan Paraswaran taking us through the details of what had transpired at the time that the government had decided to allocate the Talabira coal block. Also saying very clearly then, you heard from the BJD member Jay Panda also earlier that the Orissa Chief Minister had written to the Prime Minister's office, and Mohan Paraswaran there talking about how the Orissa government had sought that this block be given so that the state government's requirements as well as employment requirements could have been met. Of course, this matter is now sub judice. The trial court has issued the summons. Mr. Parak, the former Coal Secretary, the former Prime Minister of India, Manmohan Singh, as well as Kumar Birla, now being summoned on the 8th of April. Moving on now to the other big story, the government's reform drive, which had hit a roadblock yesterday with the demand for key legislations to be sent to select panels, got a breather today. After a multi-party meeting with the Mines Bill and the Coal Bill were now sent to a select panel today. That has been the decision that's been taken by the upper house. The report of these respective panels is expected by the 18th of March. Now that's interesting because remember, the Rajya Sabha will take a break on the 20th. It will be adjourned on the 20th for a recess. So the government is hoping that in the 2-day window, if indeed the select panel's report does come in by the 18th, it will be able to pass both the coal as well as the mines bill through the upper house and will not be forced to re-promulgate at least those two ordinances. Moreover, the Motor Vehicles Act was passed by the upper house of Parliament today, so that's good news. Not really a controversial bill, so that's gotten safe passage through the Rajya Sabha. Listen in.
What will be the duration of this select committee, and by when do you expect a report of these two select committees?
Duration, the time frame, it is being suggested. It can be a week.
Right.
So finally, it will be announced in the House.
2011 में लोकसभा में आया था. लोकसभा ने इसको स्टैंडिंग कमेटी को रेफर किया था. स्टैंडिंग कमेटी ने 2 साल तक इस पर विचार विमर्श किया और 2013 मई में स्टैंडिंग कमेटी ने अपनी रिपोर्ट दी. स्टैंडिंग कमेटी में सभी दलों के सदस्य होते हैं और सभी हाउस के सदस्य होते हैं. तो ऐसी स्थिति में जब हम लोगों ने बिल को ड्राफ्ट किया तो स्टैंडिंग कमेटी की सभी सिफारिशों पर भी हम लोगों ने विचार किया था. इसलिए हमें लगता था कि स्टैंडिंग कमेटी जब विचार कर चुकी है तो विचार करने की आवश्यकता महसूस नहीं होगी.
All right, joining us now is our colleague Ritu Pranabhuyan, who's been tracking all the action in Parliament. Ritu, let's first discuss the insurance bill because that's the crucial one. It's already been through the process of the select panel, so it can't go possibly through that process again. And hence it seems clear that once it's tabled in the Rajya Sabha tomorrow, it could be provided a safe passage. First on the insurance bill, and then what about the other pending legislations?
I spoke to several MPs on insurance, and they told me that on insurance there should not be much problem because select panel has given its report, including even members from CPI who had moved that resolution feel that there should not be much problem, and hence tomorrow most likely the insurance related legislation should get a Rajya Sabha nod, after which it will go for the presidential assent, and of course after that it will become a full-fledged legislation. Having said that, Rajya Sabha actually saw a productive day today. As you said, Motor Vehicle Act was cleared. These two MMDR and coal related legislations were sent to a select committee. The report will be out by 18th. But this entire business of sending, and pushing legislative business through ordinance, that has not gone down well. And as a result, the land related legislation could suffer. From what we understand, at least the Communist Party and the CPI and the CPM could ask for the land bill when it comes to Rajya Sabha to be sent to a select committee, and there we don't know what kind of time period could be set. We spoke to several parliamentarians on this entire strategy of ordinances and then bringing it through Lok Sabha. And they feel that this could have been handled in a much better fashion. There could have been dialogue with opposition parties, and as a result, delays could have been avoided. Let's listen to what Rajiv Chandrasekhar, Rajya Sabha MP, as well as TMC MP Dinesh Trivedi had to say about this issue.
In hindsight, the government could have probably spent a little bit more time in creating a consensus amongst the key political parties before introducing these bills and ordinances. Right. Especially in the context of the fact that they don't have a majority in the Rajya Sabha. Right. So I agree with you that maybe it was haste that has turned out to be, in the end, costing a lot more time through the select committee route.
entire process is undemocratic. Not only Gandhiji, but those wise men have always said that both things are very important. The end is important, the means are important. In both these cases, the process, if I can tell you, is undemocratic.
So let's see what we can expect in the Rajya Sabha tomorrow. Insurance, all probability that the insurance bill will clear the Rajya Sabha's floor test tomorrow. Now, while we're on the subject of coal, the government is looking to garner the support of states on the coal ordinance by leveraging the allotment of coal blocks. CNBC TV 18 learns that the centre has delayed the allotment of 43 coal mines via the government dispensation route. So these are not the blocks that are on the auction table. Anshu joins us now with the exclusive details. Anshu, what are you picking up? When was this process of allotting these mines via the government dispensation route expected to conclude, and why the delay?
That's right. The central government has missed the deadline of publishing the result for allotment of coal blocks via government dispensation on March 7th, and today on March 11th, government was supposed to execute agreement signing with these allottees. Remember, 43 coal blocks were up for allotment via government dispensation route, and though the government is yet to come out with a fresh schedule as to when these allotments will happen, sources in the government have told CNBC TV 18 that the government is looking to bring regional parties on board to get this coal mine bill cleared in the Rajya Sabha. Even though the coal mine bill has been sent to the select panel, remember the government will still need support from the regional parties to get it cleared in the Rajya Sabha, as coal mine bill is yet has only been cleared in the Lok Sabha. Remember, coal ordinance lapses on April 4th, so we'll have to see how the government will manage to sail this coal mine bill in the Rajya Sabha. Back to you.
To be the strategy of the government trying to get support from the states. Yesterday, the finance minister also said in Rajya Sabha, all the money received from the auctions cannot be given to the states until that bill is passed in the upper house. Thanks, Aranshi, for joining us with those details. Well, from one auction to the other one, now let's talk about the spectrum auction. At the end of day 7, the government has received bids worth 96,000 crore rupees. Bidding was seen across all the bands with activity requirement at 100%. Bidding will continue in the 2100, the 1800 and the 900 megahertz bands, as well as the 800 megahertz band. And stocks of telecom companies have been on fire for 2 days, but Rajan Matthews, the Director General of the Cellular Operations Association of India, cautions the aggressive bidding is going to hurt the telco's balance sheet. Listen in.
This is going to mean a significant hit to the balance sheet of these operators, and so going forward, as you indicated, there's bound to be pressure, upward pressure on tariffs as operators try to normalize the earnings from the operations to generate the cash flow to meet these prices that have been paid for spectrum.
Well, that's Rajan Matthew there at the Cellular Operators Association of India. Spectrum auctions bids at 96,000 crore rupees at the end of day 7. Now, India's near-term growth outlook may have improved, but it has miles to go before it's completely out of the woods. And that's the message coming in from the International Monetary Fund, or the IMF. Its latest report on India minces no words in pointing out that India will face numerous challenges, one of which could be the process of derailing the recovery process. Ritu joins us now with all the details.
Don't get too comfortable with the recent improvement on the macro front. And that's the essence of the International Monetary Fund's latest report on the Indian economy. IMF says India is poised to grow at a faster pace in this fiscal, especially given the new government's reform push and improved business confidence. It sees India's GDP growth as per the new formula, which uses market costs at 7.2% in FY15 and 7.5% in FY16. This FY16 projection is a full 100 basis points lower than the government's own estimates of 8.5%. However, the report is quick to add that both global and domestic risks could rock the boat. The domestic factors the fund is most worried about include a supply-side driven spike in inflation and a further weakening of bank and corporate balance sheets. Global risks could come from a surge in global financial market volatility and a spike in global commodity and oil prices. These risks could also hurt Governor Rajan's fight against inflation, says the report, though it projects that should the status quo be maintained, CPI inflation will hover at about 6.25% by the end of FY15 and a little over 6% by FY16. The real concern, however, comes from the twin deficits. The report says that while low oil prices may aid the containment of current account deficit at 1.7% of GDP in FY15, it may widen to 2.5% of GDP in the medium term as demand picks up. In addition, the government's fiscal consolidation drive is not really a sure shot. While the 4.1% target for FY15 seems to be on track, IMF says getting to the 3% fiscal deficit mark in the medium term remains a challenge, mainly because there is still no clarity on exactly how the finance minister plans to achieve this target. So what's the answer? The report recommends a tight monetary policy to contain inflation, the evolution of which should remain data dependent. It also recommends more structural reforms by the government, a bigger thrust on tax reforms, a well-thought-out rationalization of subsidies, and an improvement in the quality of growth-enhancing capital spending. But let's not forget the aspect of financial and currency stability. Apart from better regulatory environment, the report highlights the benefits of intervention in the currency markets to curb volatility and keep negative external factors at bay while the economy gets back on its feet. In Mumbai, Ritu Singh.
Well, that's the IMF forecast on India. But on that note, it's time for us to wrap up this edition of India Business Hour. Remember, it's a crucial day in Parliament tomorrow with the insurance bill being taken up by the Rajya Sabha. Will it be provided a safe passage or not? That's the big question. Our sources tell us that it's likely to go through. We'll be tracking all the action right here on CNBC TV 18. Thanks for watching.